All right, all right. Hey, hey. Hi, guys. Sorry, I'm a little bit snoofily, but let's get into this. This is going to be a signs and symbols message. We'll see what the story is, as well as any signs and symbols that we see that pop up in this storyline. We have got the Nine of Wands sideways for starters. Obviously, the color red is really prominent here. Somebody could be weeding in their garden, cutting their grass, mowing their lawn, an act of like trying to cut through, the problems, the worries, the struggles, the things that bother a character. It may be a divine feminine is actively doing something to like cleanse her area. I'm also picturing somebody like wiping down tabletops, countertops, sanitizing things, or like I say, cleaning something in their garden. But it just feels like I'm trying to cut through the stuff that has bothered me so that hopefully I can let it go. Let me, get beyond hurt or heartbreak. Let me go ahead and get beyond something that bothers me. We have the Magician. Um, Somebody could be getting a palm reading, a psychic reading from tarot card reader, or seeing a psychic. We've got that crystal ball. Somebody could have a gazing ball, maybe a garden gazing ball, or perhaps actually like a round orb. Whether or not they use it for, the idea of psychic anything, who knows? But this is Virgo or Gemini energy. This could be a divine masculine that's actually thinking heavily about her. Now, I don't know what their interaction or relationship is just yet. We also have somebody who's got some great ideas. He is like supercharged by these great ideas. I feel like a masculine may have gone to a psychic, or he is a bit psychic himself, perhaps, in this fictional storytelling. There is definitely something where I feel like he's very awakened. He has this idea, and I'm thinking it's about his future. It's about a premonition, but I feel like his eyes are like glued to her. He may be wearing like a magenta shirt, or a shirt that has like or maybe a jacket or something that has like very vibrantly colored, like magenta and tan or something like that, or some kind of like writing or some kind of patch or something on his clothing. You have the Hanged Man here. Although he has this bright idea and it's something about the upcoming future and something that he wants to manifest, he's still, I do feel like he's somebody who can get quite melancholy sometimes. He feels like he's boxed himself in a bit, like his time it's not necessarily his own. So although he's excited about some plan that he has for the future, or something that he's heard, his future will look like in this, psychic storytelling, there's also still this delay where it won't come to pass just yet. I feel like his third eye is like massive. I feel like he's actually aware. If he gets some psychic read or something like that, it's something he already thinks is going to happen. So it's less of a psychic read and maybe more somebody who just kind of like says what they pick up off of him, and it could be like, that's exactly what I think is going to happen, but not yet. Piscean energy. It's something he really wants emotionally. Queen of Swords. So he wants to talk to this feminine about truth. I always feel like this feminine is kind of like this pioneer kind of woman or something, someone who's got a real down to earth quality about her, somebody who's real honest, straightforward. He wants to talk to her. He has, and talk to her like a real blunt, honest dialogue. But I think for the time being, all he's got is distance, and, can't do this until a little bit later because his time is not his own right now. There's something here about, I don't know what he's got himself into that he's got to complete before he can, approach her, but he's got other things going on. You know what? We've been getting some really sweet stories lately. And I will say this backdrop, I have our masculine lion here. And then behind me, if I can get out of the way enough, we have our feminine lioness here as well. Sorry, my chair and me are kind of blocking it, but we have, I don't read for genders, so bear in mind this could be same-sex couple, reverse gender roles, never matters. But here again, we have like this perfectly matched pair, and I'm going to keep saying him and her just because of what we see on the cards. There is this acknowledgement that it's like he already knows. The truth is, there's like, she holds my heart. You notice how she reaches up and she's holding his heart in his hand, and he already knows this. At some point, he'll pour his mind into hers and let her know what's on his mind. This is like what he's envisioned, is like clear, honest communication to like tell her, you hold my heart, you know. Okay, let's go back over to her for just a moment. By the way, I don't know if somebody is like, just because their rib cages. Now I have asthma, so you know, certainly I'm struggling a little bit right now with my asthma. So breathing is like a major focus for me. But I will still say that these rib cages are really visible, and it's making me think that both of them are like, you know, like busy, and you know, like he's got to slow his breathing rate down. I don't know if he has to control his breathing or she does. If they're both very busy individuals, you know, sometimes I'm picturing people like at the gym, or just their lives are really busy, or it's something where I want to say like breathe in, breathe out. You know, there's a lot going on. I feel like this is characters that are almost out of breath, but by the time they get a chance to have this dialogue, everything will calm. Everything will be, you know, like I feel like these two are going to breathe in tempo or something. Like hashtag relationship goals, breathing in tempo. Let's go back over to her. So we have a 10 of swords. So she is cleaning up her space. She is cutting through things that have bothered her. She is putting an end to a painful cycle in her own life. You know, it's probably better that he's not in her world yet, because whatever she's tidying up in her own life doesn't have anything to do with him. Not as far as I can tell, not at all. She is actively moving on from some kind of like, this is always like my wasp card, you know, something that stung, something that hurt. She may be moving away from like a city with kind of jagged, you know, skyscrapers, things that just seem a little, I mean, obviously, like we could say skyscrapers are really pretty, but sometimes they do look a little sharp, like they're jabbing up at the sky. And I'm just wondering if there's something here where she would rather trade, you know, a harsher city for, well, we have a lot of Rudbeckias, you know, blooming everywhere, which those are such great summertime flowers, and they bloom for so long. I just love them. Um, Also known as black-eyed Susans. I know them as Rudbeckias, but um, I just feel like we have this feminine who's, she might be filling her life with flowers and, you know, moving on from some kind of harsh, painful experience, but I feel like she's pretty much done with it. We have the Ace of Swords in the reverse. She doesn't see what comes next. She doesn't see that it's really like a timeline thing. You know, sometimes characters have to take physical action in their life to like make the next chapter of their life happen. Other times we're being ushered into the next chapter. So what she's healing from right now, what is being cleansed out of her life, if she's, you know, changing something in her world, it's like everything's already put in motion. Whatever she's doing, whatever she's tidying, it's kind of like, you know, how a season, if I'll use gardening as an example, because we see her kind of like outdoors, you know, with her scythe cutting down like really tall, almost like, you know, like amaranthus can get to be like 6 feet tall, some of the larger species, or like corn stalks or something. But, you know, everything that we plant has a season also, you know, especially our annual things, right? So if you garden, you know that there comes a time where it's like, okay, I've picked all the ears off my corn. It's not going to produce anymore. Now you go in and you cut the corn stalks down. And so there's that time where you're cleaning up. And I feel like it's more like it's time for her to clean up. It's not so much that it's like, okay, I've got to cut this out of my life. It's more like a chapter of her life. A season has come to a close, and we see her kind of like in those final, you know, strains of that music, if you will. Like one piece of music in her life is ending, and the World card is here, and it's about divine timing. Like all of this is already working perfectly. It's a natural course of her life that one thing is closing. But what's crazy is the next layer of her life, next chapter of her life, she's going to be married. She's in her wedding dress, I really think he sees her as a Two of Cups. And although it's not quite the perfect time for him to be in her life right now, that's more than okay, because she's finishing up exactly the way her life needs to unfold. She could not step on the gas pedal and make this go faster. She could not step on the brake and slow it down. This is a natural course of events in her life that are a little beyond her control, the same way the movement of our planet is beyond our control. It's so funny. We humans think that we're in charge. We're, powerful people doing powerful things. And it's like, it's kind of a comedy because we are so vulnerable. We are so at the mercy of Mother Nature, of the solar system, but we swagger around and think that we're really in charge. It's kind of comedic, but in this case, this is the evidence of that. She's sitting on a world that turns. She herself, obviously our characters have free will, but to a certain extent, there's also nature that plays a role on us. Like, we can't decide, oh, whatever, I'm 21 years old, it's the best year of my life, I think I'll just stop aging here. We don't get to pick that. We have free will, but there are certain things that are beyond our control. We don't pick our aging process. We don't get to pick what age we're going to remain at, nor should we. There's an important thing with allowing processes. We always think we know better than like a natural process, and we really probably don't. There's a much better design that's already laid out, mapped out for us, and we should probably ride those waves. So it just kind of looks like she is subjected right now to this next chapter of her life. But the thing is, the next chapter of her life is fantastic. Now, obviously, she doesn't have to choose to be married. She'd have a choice in that. But I am saying what is unfurling, what is unfolding story next. Somebody could their house. They may like, just looking at different places on the earth. I do feel like it's an actual globe, not a flat map. And I wonder if it's like a piece of decoration or if it has sentimental value. Maybe she is very earth connected. We kind of seen her, out in a garden space. So she may be very connected to the earth as a whole. I kind of get like Gaia vibes from her, like she's a Mother Earth. Even her here in her wedding dress is kind of like there's this energy of like, I don't know, she nurtures things. She's a really good like partner who just hasn't found the person to be the partner to yet. I don't know if she knows anything about him necessarily. Let's go back over to him for a second and just ask about him and that possible like psychic vision that he's had, or seeing a psychic that has shown him that this is the direction he's going and somehow she's the one for him. We literally have yet more like psychic intuition energy here because we have the High Priestess. Granted, this is divine feminine energy and he's in a strong masculine energy with that Magician, but doesn't matter. We all have yin yang within us. There is something that he is so tapped into right now, that he is so certain about right now. Somehow it's like, I know she's for me. It definitely feels like he perhaps read something on his own. I don't know that he went and saw any psychic so much as he did something on his own that is quite psychic. Maybe he read some, passage in a book or something, and it was like, oh my God, that so speaks to me. And it reflects exactly like how I think about her. It reflects exactly what I feel like my relationship is to her, how I feel about her. It definitely was food for thought. He chewed on this and thought about this for a while with that Five of Wands, and it lit a spark in his mind. And we have that Fool card. It like brought him back to life. I really think he has awakened to the idea that there is, I'm not even saying that he's overselling this. I think he's spot on with this. I think he realizes this is the love of his life. And I wonder if he didn't even believe in that anymore, because he's coming up out of the grave and he's got his heart right there on his suitcase. And it's a new dawning day with the butterfly. Everything feels transformed. He definitely seems like he has started to believe in love again. And I think it's hugely because something clicked about her important how special this connection is. May I just ask what it is? It's something about, why does she hold his heart in her hand? It's like he realized that that is something that he feels for her. Like, she holds my heart. I just know she does. Two of Swords. I feel like she somehow cut him free from something that, like an energetic cord, like maybe he was still, bonded or in love with somebody else, somebody toxic or something like that. And meeting her, knowing her, encountering her, something about the way she is helped him cut himself free. There's a great song that I'm thinking of right now by Neil Diamond. I think it's called Nothing But a Heartache. It was, and in it he sings, it's very much a love song, but it was like he's singing about how it was nothing but a heartache, this relationship that he had with this one individual. And then he meets another woman, and she, like, literally cuts him loose, cuts him free of, like that really kind of like a dark karmic connection that he had, because this new woman is like so light and so loving. And I just feel like that's such an appropriate song for what this shows me here. He's just aware intuitively that either she is a source of light in his life, and her light has helped him sever a really darker connection. Let me just see. Knight of Swords. It's also helping him maybe find his voice. Again, not immediately, but he's like withdrawing the sword that he swallowed. Like, I really feel like he's going to be able to kind of like open up, like his throat chakra, and speak up for himself more. And remember, with that Two of Cups card, we see him pouring his mind into hers. I really think, and because he wants to have real important dialogue with her, truthful, straightforward, I really feel like there's so much of this comfort zone, like, and I feel like he's come to the place where he knows this. He knows he can actually talk to her, that it's not going to feel foolish. He's not going to feel misunderstood. He's not going to feel, like she's going to look at him like he's got two heads. She's going to be able to understand him. I don't know how he knows that, unless, like I said, this is like a psychic, understanding, an intuitive understanding, something along those lines. But he is absolutely headed her way. I do feel like he's like admiring her and wanting to be with her. And she will be ready. Yeah, all this has already been planted. I kind of feel like this is a meant to be connection, and these seeds have been planted, and it's just taking some time for everything, like I said before, to, like, nature to take its course. And for this was always like destined to be. Like, these two at a certain phase in their lives were kind of destined to cross paths, destined to recognize each other, destined to have an opportunity together. Does she recognize him, or is she thinking about him at all yet? Emperor. She must already know him, even though he's not a part of her life on the daily. She already thinks very highly of him as an emperor. Yeah, she likes him a lot. She thinks the world of him, in fact. He may be a business owner or somebody that she has met through the realm of business. She may really like the way he dresses also. He may look great in a hat. He's got some battle scars, because here he has a prosthetic leg. It doesn't have to be something literally like that, but that could be more of a visual aspect that is more metaphorical, like where we have had our legs, taken out from under us sometimes by just life being chaotic, and then we find a way to stand again. Like, I'm thinking that he's been through some pretty difficult things, but he has in her mind, he has a very powerful sense of himself. He stands for something, even if, standing for something has cost him something in the past. I think she really respects what he stands for. All right, I'm going to leave this one here. I'm so happy for these two. This is evolving beautifully with no blockages. Thank you guys for being here. Thanks for giving it a thumbs up and subscribing. Bye.